Yo, what's up, guys? We're back. We're going to be doing another video. This week it's UFC 256, big card. Already has, quite a few fights that fell off, so hopefully the card stays intact here. I even heard they might give Li Jingliang a new fight, so if they do, I will come back on here and give my prediction for that. But I just want to say, man, last time I wanted to get over 500 likes, we had like almost 650, almost 700 likes, so man, that was fucking awesome. You guys are killing it, dude, and yeah, I want to see. I mean, this is the time for giving. So let's see if we can get to 700, man. I mean, we almost got to 700 last time. We blew by the 500 that I asked for. So once again, man, big shout out to you guys for always supporting the channel. And we did pretty well last week again. We hit the play of the week. So hopefully we can bring that into this week again. And we're gonna get right into it with the first fight: Chase Hooper, Peter Barrett. I mean, we see what the UFC is trying to do again here. They're trying to get Chase Hooper back on track, obviously. The 21-year-old, he's I think the youngest person in the UFC, male, and maybe of every fighter, but he had a kind of a bad fight. His last time out, lost his perfect record against Alex Caceres, and Caceres was able to just pot shot and move around, really outstrike him, and Hooper put him in a couple bad positions. Caceres was able to get out of the back mount, things like that, and looked pretty good. And then Caceres followed that up with a big finish victory in his last fight. So Caceres is someone that's been looking pretty good lately. And then you have Peter Barrett, who looked very bad in his debut against Youssef Zalal. He basically just showed the ability to survive in there. He got dropped very early on with a spinning back kick to the chin. He got put in a lot of really deep submission attempts, but kept surviving, kept pushing to the end. In the third round, he was doing a little bit better than the first round. I don't want to say he won the round, but he worked his way into the fight, stayed tough, and showed at least his durability and his heart in there. And just looking at the line for this fight, I could never bet on Chase Hooper minus 400. I think that's kind of ridiculous. There is some value on Peter Barrett because on the feet, I still think Chase Hooper is kind of not as bad as people say. I think people want to try to act like he's like a horrendous striker. I think his striking obviously isn't good, but he's durable, he's long, he's a little bit awkward, and he will close that distance and throw in combination, throw straights down the middle, throws a lot of kicks, and he was landing a little bit on Bruce Leroy. His defense obviously isn't very good, but he has a good chin. He's willing to take it and keep coming forward, and against a guy like Peter Barrett, I do feel like on the feet, I mean, could be competitive. I don't think that Barrett's just going to go out there and blow him out of the water, but Barrett does have the better combinations. He's a decent Muay Thai guy. Kind of stiff, flat-footed, though. I feel like Barrett, he's going to have the strength advantage, so if he can get it into the clinch, just control there, work his dirty boxing, knees, elbows, that's going to be a good path to victory for him because, at range, I think he could potentially win as well, but I don't think that Hooper's going to give him that space. I think Hooper's going to be trying to jam that distance like always. And Peter Barrett, not really a great wrestler or defensive grappler, man. I mean, he showed a lot of heart in his last fight and defended some deep front chokes, but he's a guy that is susceptible to being submitted, gives up the takedown, gives up bad positions, and obviously Chase Hooper's game is to get it to the ground, work a submission, work ground and pound, and try to get the finish there. So he's long, he's lanky. Once he gets on top of you, he's hard to get off. He has good back takes, pretty decent ground and pound where he can get into a dominant position. So I'm going to go with Chase Hooper here to get the first round sub or a decision victory. But I think the line is off. Like, the value is on Peter Barrett, even though I don't think highly enough of Peter Barrett's skill set to pick him here. I just think Hooper is going to be the younger, more physical guy. Not more physical, but maybe just more athletic, bigger, and be able to impose what he wants to do, get it to the ground, and probably get a finish. So give me Chase Hooper in this one. In this next one, we got the heavyweights here. We got Sergey Spivak taking on Jared Vandara. And Sergey Spivak, he picked up his second UFC win over Carlos Felipe in August, so going to be looking to put his first UFC win streak together here. He's only 25 years old. He's definitely improving. And Spivak, he's shaped up his boxing. He's gotten a lot better with the jab. He has a pretty good 1-2. Spivak likes to look to land those hook counters. He likes to look for counter uppercuts, front knees. And he will throw some occasional body kicks, head kicks. Isn't really a great kicker in my opinion, but he will look for him at times. He has solid defense, good high guard, tucks his chin well. He has pretty good footwork, but he still needs to get better with the footwork. He can still kind of freeze up at times, be heavy on the lead leg, and needs to be ready to counter the leg kicks of Vandara with the jab or with takedowns or with the straights. And Spivak is going to have the speed advantage, probably the technical advantage, especially in the boxing. If he keeps it on the feet, he'll probably get the better of it. Spivak doesn't really have big power, though, so I don't really see him getting a knockout in this fight. He does have 4 knockouts, but they were against low-level competition. And he's been finished only one time, which wasn't his UFC debut. Kind of just got, overwhelmed early by a good athlete in Walt Harris. Spivak, he's a good grappler as well. He showed that off in both of his wins in the UFC. Good level changes, and he got hit with a few big low kicks early on in his fight with Tai Tuivasa, but showed the ability to adjust, started catching the kicks, hitting takedowns, good judo throws. And in this fight, I wouldn't really go for any throws, though, because you're fighting a really big guy in Vandara. You don't want to end up on bottom. On top, Spivak is aggressive. He will look to pass, hit submissions. He doesn't really have great ground and pound, but his last fight he did kind of, show a new dimension with that. Landed some pretty big shots on Felipe on the mat. Good cardio. He dominated the third round of that fight. And Spivak, he has good arm triangles. He'll look for, submissions from the mount, such as arm bars. He will go for some submissions I'm not a big fan of, though, such as bulldog chokes and things like that, which does expose his back. He has submitted 6 of his opponents, though, and I will say he's not really great off his back. He doesn't offer much offense. When he got taken down by Tybura, he just kind of looked to tie Tybura up, get a referee stand up, and didn't really show a get up game. He did give his back in the second round as well. In this fight, he needs to try to avoid the clinch. If he shoots takedowns, do it off of a leg kick or just shoot at space when he has Vandara in a bad position, because Vandara is a big guy. He's going to have a big size advantage here, so I don't think he's going to want to clinch up with them and go strength for strength there. But Jared Vandara, he bulldozed his way into the UFC, took out his opponent in the first round of the Contender Series, and he's a big lumbering heavyweight, but he has won 5 of his last 6 fights. And as far as the striking goes, Vandara really relies a lot on his physical gifts. For one, he's very durable. He has an amazing chin, man. I've seen him eat flush punches right up the middle, knees up the middle, and he's nicknamed the Mountain for a reason. He's a huge guy, 6'4", 80-inch reach, 265 pounds, cuts weights to make the weight, and he'll probe with the jab. There's a lot of low kicks. His footwork is almost non-existent, though. He'll either stand right in front of opponents, totally flat-footed, or just kind of inch forward very slowly. He likes to pick up fighters with the jab, the low kicks, get him to throw, and then counter with the left hook. He'll mix in some front kicks up the middle. And when he can land clean, he's definitely a pretty powerful guy, but very hittable, very bad defense. And yeah, I don't really rate his striking that highly, but he's very physical when he can tie up with opponents. He's strong. He likes to attack the neck from standing. Couple standing guillotine submissions on his record. But, he will also force fighters to go to their backs with that guillotine. Good body lock. He can grind against the cage. Good dirty boxing. Good knees. And he got hit with some brutal knees himself, though, in the clinch in certain fights, such as his fight with Richard Odoms. But when Vandara can get on top, that's where he's the most impressive. He does have a, good mount, good ground and pound. He forces fighters to give their back and does a good job flattening them out and finishing the fight. In his last fight in the Contender Series, he got the fight to the mat. The fight was finished shortly after that. And Vandara has 3 submission victories as well. He's been submitted 2 times himself, but, I don't think he's going to get submitted in this fight. His cardio is very good for a heavyweight. He's overall a pretty decent fighter. If Jared Vandara were to be fighting a guy with one-punch power, then you'd have to be fading him. But facing Sergey Spivak, he definitely is a winnable matchup here. He's going to have a big size advantage. I don't see Sergey necessarily having the power to hurt Jared. Vandara's going to have to work the low kicks, try to be more aggressive going for the clinch. Needs to get out of space, get his weight and size on Spivak where he could slow him down. If Vandara can get on top of Sergey, I think he could potentially get the finish. On the feet, I just think even though Vandara has the reach, the leg kicks, I think boxing-wise, Sergey has him beat pretty substantially. Sergey throws more volume. He's a lot faster. I see him landing clean shots on Vandara all night if he stays at range, pot-shotting him. I could also see Sergey getting takedowns if he can time level changes. If I was Sergey, though, I would look to keep it striking, box this guy up. I'm not super confident in Sergey, but I have to pick him, though. I think he's the younger, faster guy. He's the better striker, and not a bum in the grappling where he's super easy to take down or will get finished off of one takedown. He was able to defend some of the takedowns of Tybura. He's getting better. So I just think that he's going to be able to do enough to edge it on a decision. So give me Sergey Spivak on this one. And up next here, I think we got one of the easier picks on the card with Tecia Torres taking on Sam Hughes. This was originally supposed to be Tecia Torres versus Angela Hill, but she's now going to be facing someone much lower in the rankings. Torres, she's obviously one of the best strawweights in UFC history, and she proved that again in her last fight. She lost 4 fights in a row to top-notch girls, and she was getting counted out. She was the underdog against Brianna Van Buren, but dominated. And she's going to be the better striker here. I mean, she has a lot more speed, a lot crisper movement. She's, much faster, like I said, and she's good at keeping the range, countering, blitzing in, throwing in combination, keeping girls off balance with their fakes, with their feints, with their level changes. And, on the feet in this fight, I just see her really dominating. I mean, I think that she's just going to be way too fast. She's going to be throwing combos, getting in and out before Hughes can do much. And in terms of the grappling, I mean, she is a pretty good grappler. She was able to out-grapple Brianna Van Buren in her last fight, who's a good wrestler. And she's been taken down by the top notch of the division. But Sam Hughes, 5-1. She's faced okay competition. I mean, she's had a title fight in LFA with Vanessa Demopoulos where she did dominate for pretty much the whole fight before getting caught in a submission. And, she took out a 4-1 opponent in the first round in her last fight, so she is coming off a decent win. She's going to have a decent size advantage here as well. I mean, she's fought at 125, 135 even, I believe, and she's going to have a height advantage, reach advantage. She's a grinder. She comes forward, stays in your face, decent boxing. She'll rip the body, look for low kicks, decent jab. She'll throw the 1-2 or jab overhand right, Superman punches. Other than the low kicks, though, she isn't a very active kicker. I've seen her throw a few high kicks, but when Hughes can cross the distance, her boxing isn't bad. She can get her wrestling going, but against higher level athletes and strikers, I do think she's going to struggle to get on the inside. She's very hittable, doesn't have a lot of speed, but tough, durable girl. In this fight, she's going to need to get the fight down to the mat to have a chance in this one. Hughes is good, but not great as a grappler to me. She does a good job using her strikes to set up her level changes, and she will pressure forward to back opponents up to, the cage and control in the clinch, good dirty boxing, punches her way into body locks, and her wrestling is not bad, but I do see her struggling to get takedowns and control on Tecia Torres. When she gets on top, she's aggressive, good ground and pound, but her jiu-jitsu isn't great. She has a couple of submission victories on her record, but I would say her greatest asset is just her cardio, but I got to go with Torres all day here, man. I mean, she's the superior athlete, superior skill set, much more higher level experience, coming in on a full camp. Hughes is tough, good wrestler, but I don't see that being enough to take out a girl like Torres, so Torres should win via dominant decision here. This is a good fight right here with Billy Q taking on Gavin Tucker. And Billy Quarantillo, he's had a great start to his UFC career. He's gone 3-0, 2 finishes. His last fight, probably the best finish of the 2. He had a straight right hand knockout and on an 8-fight win streak, so he has a lot of momentum coming in here. If he can get by Gavin Tucker, especially if he does it in style, he'll probably get a big fight his next outing. And Billy Q, pressure striker on the feet, good boxing, combination punches. He mixes it up body head, really nice jab, really good left hook, and it's a long hook. He can land it from far out. Usually follows that with the overhand right hook to the body. He'll throw big hooks and uppers, and inside, he'll kind of mix it up body head, kind of make it hard for you to know what he's going to do, drown opponents with forward pressure. He has good low kicks. He, land big kicks to the body as well. He melted Kyle Nelson and then finished him with that right cross. He'll throw a lot of naked kicks, though, that can get him countered, and holds his hands low so he can walk into bombs a lot of fights, ducks his head a lot, so he is hittable, and he's a guy that comes back and wins in a lot of fights. He's a zombie. He wears the damage, continues to come forward, and just breaks guys, and he's been knocked out with a head kick in the past, but Quarantillo is able to break a lot of guys just with that style, take pressure or take damage, come forward pressure, and he has 6 knockouts in his career. Really nasty clinch attacks. He throws really brutal knees to the body. Isn't a super active wrestler, but he can wrestle. He showed that off against Jacob Kilburn. He got a few takedowns. He snapped him down with a front choke in the first round. Eventually got a submission in that fight. Kilburn isn't a high-level guy, but it showed Quarantillo's aggressiveness when he gets on top. Billy will use combinations to create takedowns, usually double legs. Doesn't really have the greatest takedowns, but, when he can get guys down, he is aggressive. He can really smash guys with ground and pound. He has good submissions, good back takes. His takedown defense is not very good. He can kind of off-balance himself with punches, square his hips at times, and Spike Carlisle and Camelo Kirk were able to take advantage of that. And when Billy Q gets put on his back, he will look for submissions, but if guys can pass his guard, they can mount him, they can take his back, and he is scrambly. He will eventually work out of the positions. He has a lot of heart, but Spike Carlisle and Camelo Kirk were able to dominate him early on with the grappling. Billy does have 4 submission victories. He's never been submitted. Great cardio, never say die attitude. I like the guy. And Gavin Tucker, he had a good finish in his last fight against Justin James. 3rd round rear naked choke there. That was one of the better performances of Tucker's career. And Tucker was able to show off all facets of his game. Really dominated other than a couple big moments from James. Tucker, he's a solid striker. A lot of his striking is predicated on his speed and his athleticism because he's pretty flat-footed. But, he's not flat-footed, I'll say, but he stands in front of you so he can move in and out and try to counter. Good feints, good head movement. He'll throw a lot of nice kicks from the outside, look for counters, heavy low kicks, switches stances. He throws them inside, outside. Pretty good round kicks, front kicks to the body. He had a lot of success in his last fight with that rear leg body and head kick from southpaw. And he's good at slipping and ripping, landing that big overhand. He'll try to catch guys with lead hooks or uppercuts as they try to close the distance. Good body shots, good front knees. And he did a good job in his fight with Justin James. Once James got tired, he made the cage small, kept the jab in his face, teeped him to the body, eventually landed a big knee, hurt him, and then took him out. But he isn't the best boxer. Fighters that could get past his kicks could exploit him in the boxing on the inside. Rick Glenn was able to get inside, hang on him in the clinch, get him real tired, then outbox him in the boxing exchanges, hurt him, eventually hit takedowns. But Tucker's shifty, he's powerful, so it's not super easy to get inside on him. He has 4 knockouts. He's never been finished by strikes, so he's historically been a very durable guy. And Gavin Tucker's grappling has won him his last 2 fights. He is a Renzo Gracie black belt, good single legs, good body locks, and he was able to grind out Sungwoo Choi. He landed several takedowns, did a good job staying connected, mat returning Choi, getting him tired, and eventually he choked him out late in the fight. And he was able to survive a deep guillotine against Justin James. Got on top immediately, transitioned to an arm triangle. James got saved by the bell there, but then when Tucker got a tired James down in the 3rd after he hurt him, he was able to find the submission, close the show, got another rear naked choke. And Tucker, he has 6 submissions. His cardio is kind of questionable, though. He's a guy that definitely slows down if he could push the pace. We saw that in the fight with Rick Glenn. He's never been finished in his career, but that fight he got very close to being finished. He got tired, kind of got overwhelmed. And in this fight, I just see Billy Q with the forward pressure, with just having a little bit of size on Gavin Tucker being 4 inches taller, 4 inches in reach. I think he's going to be able to close that distance with his big hooks, with his looping shots, get in the clinch, hang on Tucker, wear him down, get him tired. I think Tucker may have some success with the wrestling early, but once he gets tired, Billy Q is reversing him, getting on top, or just scrambling, getting back up to his feet. I think we're going to start to see the gas tank of Tucker kind of, befall him a little bit, and I think that Billy Q is going to be able to start to melt Gavin Tucker, and whether he gets a finish late or he wins a decision, I'm just more confident that Billy Q is going to do more down the stretch to get the win. So I'm going to go with the younger guy here, with the guy with more momentum, the little bit of a bigger guy in Billy Q. And I do think it's a close fight, but hopefully Billy Q gets it done. I'm going to say he gets it done via 3rd round KO TKO. We have an intriguing matchup here in this next fight. We got Mackenzie Dern taking on Virna Jandiroba. This is a battle right here. This is like a battle of sport jiu-jitsu at Dern versus like old school traditional jiu-jitsu with Virna Jandiroba, because on the feet, I mean, both these girls aren't very good, but I actually do favor Mackenzie Dern. I mean, she's the bigger girl on the feet. I think she's faster. She's significantly younger. She throws harder. She throws more volume. And I just believe that if they stay on the feet, that Mackenzie Dern is just going to throw more, land the harder, more significant shots, be more active coming forward. I do think Virna has the better wrestling, and that's going to be interesting to see, because we're going to be able to see what Virna truly could do on the ground, because she's going to be facing one of the best jiu-jitsu guard players for women in the history of jiu-jitsu, man. I mean, it's really hard to be in that guard of Mackenzie Dern, man. If you're too close, you can get tied up. You can get put in triangles, arm bars. If you're giving too much space, she goes down. She goes for those leg locks. She goes for the sweeps, for the heel hooks, for the knee bars. And Jandiroba, to me, I mean, she has more of that crushing top game, stays on top, methodical, passing. Once she gets into a dominant position, she's never going to lose that position. She's position over submission. Not a lot of ground and pound, but she works into her dominant positions, and once she's there, she's able to hit submissions, man. I mean, she's proven that. She has, I think, 13 submissions in her career. Last 2 fights, she was able to get an armbar, get a rear naked choke, and really dominate girls when she got in dominant positions like the mount or the back. And against Mackenzie Dern, I just don't really see her doing a lot, even if she can hit the takedowns. I do think she's the superior wrestler, but when she gets on top, I've seen girls like Mizuki Inoue retain guard against Jandiroba, land a lot of, elbows, attack submissions. I've seen girls like Carla Esparza be able to take Jandiroba down, out-scramble her, stay safe on top, even when she got taken down, reverse, and get back up to her feet. So I do feel like Dern is the better girl on the ground, and I think that she's going to be the more offensive girl on the ground, even if she's on bottom. So if I'm just looking at the fight like that, the only path to victory I see from Jandiroba is if she can hit takedowns and deny all the submission attempts or pass the guard to Dern and just, stay on top and dominate, be like kind of like a wet blanket. But I think that Dern is going to be able to, if she gets taken down, work submissions off her back, potentially sweep, potentially even find the submission. Or on the feet, I think she's just going to be the superior striker, the more athletic girl. So I'm going to go with Mackenzie Dern. I think she's younger, she's improving, she's bigger, she's better on the ground. So I got to go with Mackenzie Dern here. I think it's probably going to be a decision win. Really good fight right here. 2 action fighters here close out this prelim card. We got Daniel Pineda, who's looked nothing short of sensational recently. I mean, he's mowed through his last 7 opponents. Big upset knockout victory over Herbert Burns in his UFC return. And that's been his thing. I mean, he's won all 27 of his fights via finish. Super experienced guy, 35 years old. So he knows every fight's important for him now. Any loss is a big setback for Pineda. But Pineda doesn't really have the best striking to me. He's scrappy. He's powerful. He will try to make the cage small, work the low kicks. He definitely has big power in his hooks. He'll throw some straights down the middle, but not really often. It's usually always wide shots. Likes to throw a lot of kicks, wild spinning kicks, high kicks, because he has no fear of getting taken down or being on his back, and definitely uses his striking mostly to get on the inside, work takedowns, but he has power if he lands clean. He has hard low kicks. He can get wide with his punches, throw kicks that get him countered, and when he gets tired, his volume definitely goes way down. He can get pot-shotted, outnumbered from the outside, but he has an iron chin historically. He's only been put down 1 time by strikes in over 40 fights. Very dangerous in the first round. 7 of his 9 knockouts happened in round 1. And he's a very strong grappler. Super physical. He just manhandles some guys in this division. Very good level changes. Sick double leg. Very good at getting the tight waist, circling to the back. He'll suplex guys. He'll jump on the back from standing. He has just a knack of forcing these grappling exchanges. If you watch almost any recent fight he has, you'll see him throw a wild high kick or spinning kick, get put on his back, and then eventually, it's like he wanted to do that because he gets the guy gets on top of him, and then he's able to scramble to top position. And once he gets there, he's just super aggressive. He looks to get in dominant positions, rain down ground and pound. And he'll either pound you out, or if you give up the submission, he'll take it. He likes to get the mount. He'll set up mounted triangles from there. Good rear naked chokes as well. Good arm triangles. He, early on, super hard to hold down. Really good at scrambling, reversing position. He was able to stand up from under a grinder and Jeremy Kennedy multiple times. He was ultimately able to snatch that neck up from Kennedy, hit a guillotine, which Pineda's guillotine is one of his signature submissions as well. And he was able to out-grapple yet another black belt in his last fight with Herbert Burns. He made Herbert Burns quit, essentially. Landed some heavy ground and pounds, tired Burns out, got in that crucifix position, and just pounded him out with the elbows. He also has some good leg lock finishes as well. But Pineda can accept being on his back, and he can lose fights that way. Like that happened against Emmanuel Sanchez. Definitely slows down significantly after the first round. And he's been submitted 6 times himself. So he has 19 submissions, but he's been submitted 6 times. A lot of those were early in his career, though. He hasn't been submitted since 2010, so it's been a long time. Pineda's also 0-5 in decisions, which I don't like seeing that either. And he's going to be taking on a legend here in Cub Swanson, who's making a return after a pretty lengthy layoff. Swanson, he had a torn ACL, unfortunately, happened in his quintet grappling match versus Jake Shields, and that put him on the shelf for a little over a year here. And that was unfortunate because Swanson was coming off a really good performance over Crone Gracie. Previous to that, Swanson had lost 4 fights in a row. He's definitely at the end of the line, but trying to get a few more wins in his career on his terms. And Swanson, he's a range striker, good boxing, good kicking skill, really nice jab. He'll throw the jab, slip his head off center line, follow with the big overhand right, good movement, stance switching. He likes to use a lot of lateral movement, walk opponents into combinations. He's good at throwing a left hook to switch to southpaw and circle off the cage. He likes to walk opponents into big looping hooks or overhands. He'll mix in high kicks. He'll throw himself out of balance at times, but he's super good at, even when he's off balance, he'll spring right into a kick. He'll use that to land an unorthodox shot. Good uppercuts in close range. He's very good fakes, feints. He'll attack the body. He smashed the body of Crone Gracie in his last fight with punches, with kicks. When he's in the pocket, he will trade a little bit, but he has lost a little bit of that speed, so he can't get countered in the pocket. We've seen guys catch him like Renato Moicano, and I don't think he has that same explosiveness he once had, but he's still very durable. He's only been finished by strikes 1 time. He took a lot of bombs against Shane Burgos. He has 11 knockouts himself, but none since 2013, so it has been a while. Cobb has struggled with grapplers throughout his career. I mean, he's had problems with takedown defense, submission defense. Doesn't really go for takedowns a lot himself, but he will shoot double legs. I've seen him hit some counter hip tosses in the clinch when guys go for takedowns on him. But, his takedown defense has improved. He hasn't been taken down much in recent fights. He was able to keep it on the feet with Frankie Edgar in their rematch. And he's recently gotten caught in like standing submissions versus Brian Ortega. And then against Renato Moicano, he got dropped and submitted. So not like he's getting caught from just losing jiu-jitsu or getting taken down. But Swanson, he's a black belt himself. He's been submitted 7 times, though. So if he gets put on his back, I do think Pineda will be able to control him staying on top. But if you look at the guys that have submitted him, every single guy that submitted Cub Swanson besides Renato Moicano was either a UFC title challenger or a UFC champion. So I don't think Pineda is nearly on that level. I just feel like when I look at this fight, Pineda's going to have to get him down in the first round and really do some damage where it wears on Cub, gets Cub real tired, or maybe hit some low kicks and kind of negate his striking advantage for the next 2 rounds, or he's going to have to hit that finish in the first round, because I think that Cub just has way more high-level experience. He's better on the feet. He's going to be smart, man. I mean, I feel like if Pineda starts to get real sloppy with the striking in the second and third round, starts really lowering his volume, throwing those wild kicks, ending up on his back, I think Cub will have the, fight IQ to tell him to come back up to his feet, pot shot him, really just outbox him, out volume him, land the harder, bigger shots, get out of the way of Pineda's big looping shots, deny some of the takedowns. And I think after that first round, Pineda's takedowns are going to be way more obvious, way more kind of like panic wrestling type takedowns. So I think that he's going to get labored. I think Cub might get a little bit tired too, but I just think he's going to have a little bit more experience, a little more in the gas tank. I mean, come on. I mean, I get why Pineda's the favorite, but he's 35 years old too. This guy has 13 losses, so he's not a spring chicken. He's not a guy that, is undefeated. He's not anything like that. He's lost a lot of times. He's finished a lot of guys that aren't even close to Cub Swanson's level. And he has gotten a few good wins here recently, but his loss with Herbert Burns, I mean, Burns missed weight, didn't really look very good. He had 2 wins on the PFL. They got changed to no contest due to drug test failure. So who knows? I just got to go. I'm going to go with Cub Swanson. I think he's going to be able to give him a veteran, show here and be able to outstrike him, keep it on the feet, be the smarter guy. And he could get the finish, but I'm going to go with Cub Swanson via decision. Man, to kick off the main card, we got kind of a sad matchup here with Ciryl Gane versus Junior Santos. Kind of a passing the torch matchup. We've seen JDS go out there 3 times in a row, former UFC champion, UFC legend, all that, but he's gotten finished, man, 3 straight times, and he's going to be taking on Ciryl Gane, who is only 6-0, so going from Tanner Bozer to Junior Cigano, I mean, that's a big step up, so he's going to have to kind of prove himself, show what he's all about here, but obviously he's a big favorite for a reason. Ciryl Gane's not your prototypical heavyweight, man. He switches stances, amazing footwork, hands-down style, really heavy kicks, which I feel like the left kick, the leg kicks, the body kicks of Ciryl Gane are going to, be maybe the difference here. His reach, his ability to play the long-range game, be the faster guy, more mobile, which is usually what JDS has, but he's not going to have that advantage in this fight. And I just feel like Ciryl Gane, I don't necessarily think he has a lot of big power, though, and he likes to fight off the back foot. He's very good at that, but I think it's going to be a similar type of story in this fight where Junior is going to be the guy coming forward, looking for the kill shots, and I think Ciryl Gane's going to be moving around, kicking his legs, jabbing him, maybe landing some big shots along the way. But I don't know. I just feel like JDS doesn't have that same speed, the mobility, the power that he used to have. Obviously, he doesn't have the same durability. And I just think Ciryl Gane's going to be able to take advantage of that, just outstrike him easily. I don't think JDS is going to look to change it up, hit takedowns. And we've seen Ciryl Gane actually be pretty impressive with his grappling. I don't think Ciryl Gane is going to take down Junior either. But I just feel like Ciryl Gane is going to be able to outpoint him and maybe even win a decision. I don't know if he's going to be able to get a finish just with this fighting style, but I just got to favor him here. I think he's younger, he's more athletic, he's a better mover, he can fight off the back foot. JDS, durability issues, probably confidence issues. Ciryl Gane has to be the pick here. And up next here we have another one of those type of matchups, another passing the torch type matchup with Kevin Holland looking to take out the legend Ronaldo Jacare Souza. And Holland, man, he's had a phenomenal 2020. 4-0, 3 finishes. Significantly raised his profile. I mean, now he's getting a matchup against a legend on the main card of a pay-per-view. If he could take out a guy like Jacare Souza in style, he's definitely going to be in contention for Fighter of the Year. He's going to be in title contention at 185, and it's going to be a huge win for him. Jacare Souza, he's making the return to middleweight. He had one fight at 205 where it was unsuccessful. He, lost in a, 5-round title fight to Jan Blachowicz. Lackluster split decision there. 41 years old, so a lot of people are starting to really question the, fighting life that Jacare has left in him, whether he's done already or whether he has, a couple more fights to prove that he's still there. He does seem like he's motivated, like he wants to get the win here. He is making the drop down to 185. So another thing, is also that Kevin Holland is coming off that COVID, so he's had to quarantine. I don't know who he's been training with. He obviously hasn't had the best, kind of conjuncted camp here, so that is going to be an advantage for Jacare. And just style matchup-wise, I mean, you got to favor Jacare Souza in this fight. I mean, Kevin Holland, he's a rangy guy, has a lot of reach, pretty good movement, and he throws those straight shots down the middle. Good jab, good two, good kicks. So he's going to have to just rely more on his boxing in this fight. Try to, jab Jacare up, move, hit him with the two, move, 1-2s, straight shots down the middle, because he gets a very kick heavy against against the grapplers, which isn't a good thing. I mean, a lot of guys are able to take him down off of his kicks. He doesn't really deal with forward pressure the best. Guys can get inside, close the distance. He has good defense on the inside, but he just allows guys to, take away his gift, which is that big reach. And I feel like Jacare is going to be able to get on the inside, be the more physical guy for sure. And one thing that Kevin Holland has shown is his lack of takedown defense. He gets taken down very easily against guys that I don't think could even sniff Jacare's jockstrap, man, like Brennan Allen, like Gerald Mearshart. And Holland, I mean, he's a black belt himself. He's very good at, once he can get the fight to the ground, he's a good scrambler, keeps a high pace, he can get out of submissions, get back on top, and tires these guys out. Then he can land these elbows, get submissions of his own. He's a funky grappler, but against Jacare, man, I don't see him being able to get out of bottom position. I see Jacare dominating, getting into his positions and probably getting a finish. I mean, if he gets put on his back against Jacare, especially early on when they're dry, it's going to be a big issue for them. And I just don't see Holland being able to stop the takedowns, man. I mean, he could obviously land one of these straight shots and just knock Jacare out. That's always a possibility. Jacare is getting slower and slower. He's an older guy, but he didn't knock out GM3. I mean, he only has knocked out Joaquin Buckley in his UFC career, and Buckley didn't shoot any takedowns, wasn't really trying at all to level change with Holland, so Holland had the fight he wanted in that fight. Holland, I mean, he's coming off that win with the slam over Charlie Ontiveros, but I mean, give me a break, man. I mean, it says Jacare. Jacare has lost 2 fights in a row, but he's fighting the cream of the crop. He just fight the light heavyweight champion Jan Blachowicz, and even though he lost the fight, he was able to implement his will. He was able to push him against the cage, make it grappling oriented, survive 5 rounds. So I just see Jacare being the much bigger guy. Holland is a guy that doesn't really cut weight. He can go to 170 if he wanted to. So if they clinch up, like I said, I just see Jacare being much more physical, being able to hit the takedowns. And once he gets on top, I think that there's just levels, man. There's levels to this shit in terms of the grappling, in terms of MMA. And I think Jacare is going to school him if he can get on top, get a submission. So I'm actually going with Jacare to get a first-round submission in this fight. I think he's going to kind of solidify in Kevin Holland's head once and for all that he's a welterweight, man. He doesn't want to be up here at 185 against these grapplers. They're going to be able to take him down and get him tired. If Jacare goes real hard for the submission and can't get it, then it could get interesting, because I do favor Holland in the later rounds cardio-wise, but Holland's another guy that's gotten tired himself, especially in grappling fights, so I got to go with Jacare here, and I'm actually going to go with Jacare via first-round finish. And we have a banger coming up here, man. Renato Moicano taking Rafael Fiziev. And for Fiziev, he dominated Mark Chikasi in his last fight, and thus he's getting a big step up in competition. He's going to face Renato Moicano, and Fiziev, he's looking to, make good on the hype he had when he entered the UFC. And if he defeats Moicano, man, you have to throw him in there with the top guy next. And Fiziev obviously is an elite level striker, very light on his feet. His distance control is phenomenal. Really good kicks, leg kicks, body kicks, head kicks. Those switch kicks to the body he was landing on Mark Chikasi were brutal, man. Really nice straight right hand, really good left hook. He has a really good counter left hook and right hook moving backwards. He'll slip in return. He has a good straight and overhand right. He's really good at striking moving backwards, forward. It doesn't matter. Really good elbows. He's famous for his slipping and rippling ability, man. I mean, you see the way that he avoids those head kicks. Not many guys slip head kicks, but in his one loss in the UFC, he did get knocked out with that spinning kick, got finished with ground and pound. And so it does kind of maybe not work sometimes if he gets hit clean or even gets hit on the guard. He can get put out even if he's real good with those slips. But Fiziev will throw really nice round kicks, question mark kicks, spinning kicks himself, flying knees. He's very dynamic, but he doesn't tend to throw much in combination. He kind of just likes to slowly break guys down with 1, 2, 3 shot combos and not really turn it up and land like long combinations. But if he can keep fights standing, he's going to be trouble for a ton of UFC guys. He does get a bit wild sometimes. He can trade, get wide with hooks, stand in front of guys. His defense in the boxing range is not the greatest, so that is something that Moicano could potentially try to exploit, try to catch him in between some of his shots or try to force him into pocket exchanges and catch him. But Fiziev has 5 knockouts in his career. He's a good grappler as well. I mean, he's obviously strong in the clinch with his Muay Thai, good underhooks. He throws hard knees, elbows, good Thai plum. He has good shots off the break, and he has pretty good takedowns in the clinch. He showed that in his last fight against Mark Jacasey. Decent ground game on top, but it really is just kind of doing that to mix it up. Isn't really dangerous when he gets on top. And he has good takedown defense, really good actually, super athletic. He does a good job making guys pay for takedown attempts with knees, with elbows, with shots off the break. And he did get tired in his 2 fights, though, with Alex White and Mark Jacasey. Started to take some unnecessary damage in the 3rd round. But he kept a really high pace in both those fights, so I don't blame him that much. His opponent, Renato Moicano, he's putting the lightweight division on notice if he gets this win here, because he snapped that 2-fight win streak against Damir Hadzovic in fashion, man. He submitted him in less than 1 minute. And he's a guy with some recent losses that dropped his stock, but you can't sleep on the guy, man. He has some high-level wins. He's defeated guys such as Zuba Tuhugov, Jeremy Stevens, Calvin Kattar. Beating Rafael Fiziev will prove going to lightweight was a good decision. He can mix it up with these top 15 guys. And Moicano, very technical guy. On the feet, he can be low volume, but he's sharp, heavy hands, good jab, good 1-2. He's actually dropped multiple opponents with the jab and doesn't utilize a lot of movement. He likes to stand in front of opponents, pick at him with the jab, with the low kicks. He throws heavy low kicks, and he wants fighters to open up so he could slip and counter with the cross, with the lead hook, with the right hook, with the overhand right. He will try to land in between opponents with sharp straights, good uppercut counters as well. And after Moicano will land some low kicks, he will start to go body and head with them. Isn't a one-shot striker. He relies more on volume, but he does sit guys down. He's sharp. And Jeremy Stevens, though, was able to land some good low kicks on Moicano. And, Moicano, at times early on in fights, has been clipped and finished against, guys like Jose Aldo, like Chan Sung Jung. And his chin is a little bit questionable. Obviously, Moicano's going to have a big advantage if he can get the fight to the ground, though. He's a black belt, very good on the ground. Really good in the clinch himself. He has, good knees, good elbows, good body locks. And, he showed excellent guard passing ability throughout his UFC career. Really good at passing, getting to mount, taking the back. Really good floating ability. He has good rear naked chokes. Obviously, he got a quick one against Damir Hadzovic. He has a good single leg, good reactive double legs, but at times, if guys could really pressure him and melt him, he will shoot some ill-advised takedowns that cost him in his fight against Brian Ortega. He got submitted, and he has great takedown defense, but I don't really think this fight hits the ground unless someone gets dropped. I don't think Moicano is explosive enough to hit the takedown, and I don't think he's really going to try too hard, but he has 7 submissions. He's only been submitted 1 time. I think Fiziev should get this one. Moicano, he needs a finish to get the win, in my opinion. He needs to land that perfect counter shot, sit down Fiziev, because I don't think he has the volume to beat a guy like Rafael over 3 rounds. Moicano's style of not having a lot of movement, I think, will allow Fiziev to rack up the leg kicks, the body kicks, and work his body punches. Once Moicano becomes a bit slower than Fiziev, I think he could start to open up with combinations, potentially stop Moicano. Moicano has a bit of that tall man's defense. I believe, he's a lot slower than Fiziev as well. Fiziev can land clean on his chin. We could see Moicano go out. Moicano got knocked out in his last 2 losses at 145. I don't think he's going to look to grapple here or be able to hit takedowns like he did versus Hadzovic. I just see Fiziev being more athletic. He has the speed, the power to back Moicano up and land more volume or catch that shot and finish him. So I'm actually going to go with Fiziev to get the victory in this one. Oh, man. I mean, we got this fight right here. I feel like this is the main event for me, man. Tony Ferguson making his return, taking on Charles do Bronx Oliveira. And, these are 2 of the, winningest guys in terms of post-fight bonuses in UFC history. They're incredible, man. I mean, both these guys are amazing to watch, fan favorites. Tony Ferguson obviously had that fucking 12-fight win streak, epicness in the division, war after war. Unfortunately, that win streak came to an end last fight against Justin Gaethje, but even that fight was super entertaining and showed Tony's chin, man, his ability to never say die attitude, never back down. And Charles do Bronx, he has the most submissions in UFC history, super dynamic. Finally got that marquee win in his last fight where he always had these long win streaks. He's had a lot of wins, a lot of UFC experience, but that big time win is kind of failed to materialize for him. He's always lost when he's taken that big step up, but was able to go in there and dominate Kevin Lee. Not dominate him, but get the win, get the finish in a very tough fight. Actually, the second round was pretty good back and forth. But, man, I mean, Charles do Bronx, obviously, his striking is really leveled up. He's a guy that stands tall, real good straight punches, front kicks, really good timing. He throws really nasty elbows, and he just tries to catch guys as they come in. Good forward pressure. In his last fight, he was really pressuring Kevin Lee heavy, throwing a lot of these flying kicks, super aggressive, being wild out there, because he has no problem being on his back, and if you take him down, he likes it, so doesn't really care that if you take him down off the kick or he ends up falling off balance, getting down on his back, because that's where he wants to be, and he can keep the pressure on guys, really kind of try to just force them to make a mistake, and that's where he catches them in a submission or lands a big counter shot, catches them coming in and knocks them out. And Oliveira, he's gotten a lot better with his defense, a lot more technical, but I still feel like he hasn't been really fighting high-level competition, and he struggles against combination punchers. He struggles against guys that are going to pressure forward on him. Definitely slows down. I mean, we even saw that in his last fight with Kevin Lee. In the second round, he slowed down significantly. The third round, we didn't really get to see what would happen because Kevin Lee shot in. He was able to catch the neck. And, Oliveira in this fight is going to, obviously be trying to jump on the back from standing, get the fight to the ground. I do believe maybe he's even the better wrestler, but if he takes down Tony, I mean, I don't think he's going to submit him, man. I mean, we've seen guys that I don't think are as high level as Tony, like Paul Felder, be able to survive that gauntlet and defend. We've seen other guys, be able to stand up from under him, like Ricardo Lamas, and be able to eventually get him down and submit him. And Drew Bronx is a guy that I still feel like, man, if Tony pressures him, keeps that volume like he always does, starts walking him down, hitting him to the body, to the head, volume, really starting to piece him up, I think Charles is going to look for the way out, man. I think he's going to go down. I think Tony's going to overwhelm him. And Tony, man, I mean, the whole thing for me in this fight is what that last fight took away from him, because I think this is a good matchup for him stylistically, just because I see him being able to break a guy like Charles do Bronx Oliveira. I see him throwing more volume than a guy like Charles do Bronx Oliveira, and I don't see do Bronx being able to walk Tony into a shot that knocks him out or hurts him bad enough that he could get a submission. He could drop Tony and submit him. He could hurt him with the shot coming in, but if he doesn't do that in the first round, I think Tony is going to start to attack the body, come back to the head, back Charles up, and I don't think Charles is going to like that power coming back. If he starts to shoot sloppy takedowns, that's when Tony could catch the neck with a guillotine, with a darce, and we've seen do Bronx be weak to the body in multiple fights, so this fight, I think it's just going to come down to, like I said, father time for Tony, what that last fight took away from him, because besides that, I just think Tony's the man in this fight. I think Tony's going to be the bigger athlete. I think he's going to be the stronger guy there. I think that when he gets in do Bronx's face, he's going to be able to land shots on him. He's going to be able to land to the body, to the head, land elbows. I think he's going to be able to back him up eventually. I think he has the much better cardio, throws the higher numbers. And do Bronx is going to have to rely on a one-shot to submission, kind of sub and club, or club and sub type of thing, or a one-shot knockout. And I just don't know if that's going to come before he gets tired. And once he gets tired, then Tony's going to sense that and really put it on him and take him out. So I just think Tony's going to be able to weather that storm early. He wants this right now, man. I mean, the division's wide open again with Khabib beating Justin Gaethje and retiring. There's no champion, so Tony's right back in the mix. If he can win this fight, he's probably going to be in a title fight his next fight, or he should be. So I got to go with Tony Ferguson, man. I just feel like this is a good matchup for him. I think he's going to be able to walk Dubrov's down, pressure him, land some big shots, and we're going to see Dubrov's go back to his old ways, fold. I mean, man, we're not going to see Tony Ferguson tap the strikes like Dubrov's did against against Paul Felder. We're not going to see him kind of go down to an injury like he did Max Holloway, or go down like he did against Cub Swanson. I like Dubrov's, man, but I don't think he's tough enough to beat a guy like Tony Ferguson. I don't think he is. So I got to go with Tony Ferguson. I think he's going to melt him and take him out. Give me El Kukui a third-round finish here. And we got the main event here. We got Deiveson Figueiredo taking on Brandon Moreno. And, man, I mean, if you think I just talked about these guys, it's because I did. They fought on the same card 3 weeks ago. This is the fastest turnaround in UFC history for a champion to get a return fight. So Deiveson is going to be looking to be the first champion in UFC history to defend his belt twice in 1 calendar month, which is pretty crazy. But going to be taking on a beast, man, a guy that went and handled business again. And Brandon Moreno took out Brandon Royval. I mean, it was an injury, but it was a first-round finish, and Brandon Royval was looking good. And Deiveson Figueiredo, he did his fucking thing too, man. He went in there and took out Alex Perez in the first round, clinical fashion, looked like a beast. So both these guys coming in with a lot of momentum. I mean, I don't think Moreno's lost in like over 2 years. Deiveson Figueiredo has obviously won three 5-round title fights this year. It looked phenomenal. And this is a good matchup. I mean, we got Brandon Moreno here, who's really shaped up his boxing, really sharpened up his striking. He's not as wild as he used to be. He's not as loopy, and definitely has improved his defense quite a bit. But I still feel like he's going to be a few levels below Deiveson on the feet. I think that Moreno, he has good boxing. He's powerful for flyweight, good kicks. He's going to have to work that leg kick and try to just keep the pressure on Figueiredo, try to land some of shots of his own, and eat the shots that Figueiredo gives back. Because Moreno he's hittable, man. He's a hittable guy. He overextends. He makes mistakes with his striking, and taking shots of Deiveson Figueiredo, I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. I mean, we've seen him take big shots off guys like Alejandro Pantoja. He's always had trouble with guys that throw straights down the middle, jabs, straight punches, which Figueiredo, man, he has one of the best cross counters in the game, man. His jab is really good forward pressure. He gives you that wide stance, bouncing in and out, and I just feel like Moreno, he's going to maybe take more of a counter approach to this fight and try to make it slow-paced early on, and not throw a lot, not give a lot of openings, and Figueiredo is more of a counter striker as well, so I think Figueiredo may be on that back foot pressuring. Moreno's going to be kind of just trying to touch from the outside, but eventually that Mexican is going to come out of Brandon, man. He's going to get in the pocket. They're going to start trading. They're going to start opening up, and I just think when they open up, I think Dice Duguerre, I think the God of War, man, is going to be the more powerful guy, the sharper guy, the cleaner striker, and Moreno's going to have to try to get it to the ground, which I don't necessarily see him being able to hit takedowns here. I don't think he's the better wrestler. I actually think Deiveson is the better grappler in the matchup. And yeah, I just don't see a lot of path to victory from Brandon Moreno. I think that Moreno could potentially win if Deiveson comes in here really drained from a second weight cut in 3 weeks and goes to that finish early. Moreno stays real tough and starts really beating him down late. Maybe he could find a late TKO, late submission. But if Figueiredo looks good on the scales, if he doesn't have a lot of issues, he's fast, he's sharp on the night, I just see him being the superior striker, being the guy that's going to be moving around, going forward, giving different looks. I think Moreno's going to be trying to use that same boxing, and Dice Duguerre is just going to be able to open up, counter him, really get him gun-shy. And I think Moreno's going to start trying to look for the takedowns more and more, and that's where Figueiredo could potentially hit a counter knee, hit a counter uppercut, hit a submission. We saw in his last fight, I mean, he went for that leg attack, immediately went to the neck, got the guillotine. The guillotine of his is really nasty. Yeah, I mean, we've seen Moreno rocked in multiple fights. Like Kai Kara France landed a lot of big straights on him, like I said, Pantoja. And I just don't think he has the striking, the cleanness, the sharpness in his boxing to contend with a guy like Figueiredo. I don't think he's necessarily, athletic enough. I feel like this is a good matchup for Deiveson, man. I think that Deiveson's going to be able to boss the fight, be the superior guy, faster guy, more powerful guy, better striker, better grappler, more technique. And I actually think he's going to get a third round finish, maybe a KO TKO, maybe a club and sub type submission. But I think Moreno will be tough. I think he's going to give him a harder test than Alex Perez. But I just think Dice Figueiredo is going to prevail, man, and get a win, another kind of dominant victory here. So got to go with Dice Figueiredo. I just think he's better across the board. He's more powerful. He's more athletic. He's faster. So I got to give him the advantage. I give him the edge in a lot of categories here. So give me Dice Figueiredo, Deiveson Figueiredo via finish in this one, and I think he's going to be a long-time champion, man. So give me Deiveson Figueiredo. So there you have it, guys. That's the breakdown for UFC 256. And for the parlay of the week this week, it's going to be Ciryl, Gane, Tecia, Torres, and Deiveson Figueiredo. For the most confident pick, it's going to be Tecia, Torres in this one. My underdog of the week is going to be Cub Swanson. And once again, before I get out of here, I just want to give another shout out to the Mecca, to Mr. Arkansas, to his channel. Made it through last week. We're in the Final Four, so I'm really trying to win it. We'll see what happens. But make sure to check it out, on Saturday night after the event. Someone's going to get eliminated. Someone's going to have bad picks. So hopefully it's not me. But yeah, check it out. See who gets eliminated. See who's in the final three. Then that'll be the finale, I believe. So it's coming down to the end. And hopefully I can get the win in that one as well. But shout out to that, the Mecca, Mr. Arkansas's channel. And yeah, man, thanks again for watching. Like I said, last time was pretty sick, man. Almost 700 likes. You guys killed it. Really beat the mark that I wanted to get to, which was 500. So shit, man, let's try to get to 700. Like I said, if we can get to 700, that would be sick. And yeah, man, we only got one more event for the rest of the year, but I feel like we've done really good this year, so let's close it out on a high. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys later.